It's do or die time in the UFL in week 8. We got some crucial matchups to keep teams alive in the playoff picture. And we got some stuff that are updates for season 3 coming up next year that we'll be debating and discussing with this show. This is episode 104 of the UFL Podcast, and it starts right now.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome back, everybody, to the UFL Podcast. I am Zach Heilman hosting this week, and thank you for staying patient with us and coming back after a week off. Yes, we had some things happen. Life happens. Stuff happens once in a while, but we are back as we promised during Around the UFL, and we got plenty of stuff to discuss, especially with this week coming up about, well, things in the future, things not so far in the future with the playoffs. Lots of good stuff going on with the UFL in 2025. On the other side, though, before we get into the nitty-gritty and really break things down, I got my buddy, the Ref, on the opposite side. Good to see you, sir. Back in action for this week for episode 104. It's a good feeling.
Oh, it feels good. It feels real good to be back in the regular old gear and not that silly jersey because of that silly game last weekend. But you know what? Things are looking up because this week, refs law the game, Zach. Refs law the game.
Here we
refs law the game.
Part
no
1.
matter who wins, refs law wins at the end of the day. It can it can happen.
I got to give you credit. You're locked in. There's no way to do this, and I know there's no way to do this because you can't tie in the UFL. So you don't have to worry about that scenario screwing up refs law whatsoever. So yeah, I'm locked into at least 2 of the last 3 weeks. I can't sit here and deny something that has had a pretty bad streak this year, my friend. I still got to point that out.
We need 3 strikes, so we can't get it this weekend, but we have 2 weeks left to the season. And I feel like if we can just get a third refs law broken game, we might be free from this curse. But we might also end the season at 80% refs law, which is still, when we're talking about like, oh, this refs law is dead, and it's 80%.
Yeah. Okay.
I want it to be dead. I want both of our teams to win. I want refs law the playoffs. That's what I want. I don't want this. I want it.
Well,
I'm gonna have it.
I'll admit, refs law, the both of us being in the basement would be not ideal. Thank you very much. I would not be feeling as good as I am. We'd have a lot of conversation about next year. So, and I'd be looking at you like, so this is what you feel like all the time. It feels like 2022 again.
That damn man, I'll tell you, that halftime euphoria this weekend. I didn't even know what to do with my hands. I was like, whoa, is this what winning feels like?
I had such a good time with the freaking halftime coach of the year tweet that, look,
I still think it's true.
Bit or not, it's hilarious. I the way things play out.
No bit. CJ, you'll see.
Whoa,
this
no
weekend
bit. Whoa. The tape says it was a bit on Monday.
I think if you're remembering something, that probably happened after we were recording last week. But I don't think I ever said.
Screwy then.
I don't think I ever said that was a bit. Or I don't believe that because I truly, in the deepest, darkest parts of my heart, Zach, believe that CJ Johnson will be the damn coach of the year, coach of the decade, coach of the lifetime.
Oh, wow.
Trying to expose me.
Well, if he's gonna get it, he's got to get it this week. Because here's the deal: this is the scenario, and we'll do quick plugs here momentarily. Actually, let's do quick plugs now before we get into the scenario because Got to shout out to our stuff. By the way, if you haven't followed us along, you're discovering us right now. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button below. Click the bell. It builds morale not only for you but for us too here on the UFL Podcast, and also for our folks over and around the UFL, which is hosting on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern all the time live. So check us there as well. And check out the socials at UFL Podcast, at Around the UFL on your favorite platforms too. Be sure to keep up with us in the conversation and when we go live as well, or when news episodes drop as well. Remember, also available on all your podcast platforms. Drop a review on your podcast platform of choice if you're listening to the audio version of this show instead of watching the video. I mean, hey, your call. Video, you miss some of the stuff we do and the goofiness we have on screen. But if you're on the go, it's the perfect way of doing it as well. By the way, check out our stuff, Royal Retros as well, USFL Newsroom, for your code, 10% off your purchase when you go there. The place to find your spring and arena football merch. Not only is it an official UFL partner, they're an official Arena Football One partner. If you haven't been checking that out, you should, by the way. So check out some official gear and some great swag and old retro swag too at royalretros.com. And finally, because I can't end this without going in, Summer Stock, baby, it's coming up. The road to Summer Stock is very shortly approaching. We are less than a month out to what should be an extravagant road trip from Houston to St. Louis, Missouri on Route 66 when we hit that as well. The documentary will be a great one, and we cannot wait to share what we have in store. Just for chatting on some plans before we came on to record this. And again, stuff's coming together. It's going to look really good, the way we're laying it out. And man, I love what we're doing with this. I really am. It's going to be a blast.
I didn't even tell you, but I'll tell you now. I bought a second drone.
You want another drone?
So
pause. Time out.
Here's why. There is a specific shot that I have in mind. And so this other drone, I got it on a cheap. So if you guys don't know, shopgoodwill.com, you can actually find some legit things there.
Oh, yes. Actually, that's a great. I've done that website link before. I've auctioned for retro games through there. That's like an underrated retro gaming website because
everybody forget
up.
We said that. Don't go to shop.
Don't go to goodwill.com and do not go to the auction site, please.
So anyway, though, I found a drone and it had in box unopened. I could tell by the tab. The box is a little roughed up, but on the box, you can look at the serial number. I plugged it in on DJI's website. Hasn't been activated yet. So if it is broken, it's under warranty. They'll send me another one. Either way, I have this shot in mind, but we'll be able to throw this bad boy out there and it'll be able to track us. So if we're driving the golf cart per se, we could have the drone track us and fly in front of the golf cart with our mics. So I got, what I mean? This is what you guys have to look forward to because
wait a minute.
Summer Stock, the road to the UFL championship. We have so many things that we're going to be doing with this. Yeah.
You say it's flying in front of the golf cart.
Yeah.
So that means one of two things. Either I'm allowed to pilot the drone or I'm allowed to pilot the ref cart.
Yeah, either one.
Oh,
here's the thing. The drone, it does it autonomously. We don't even need to control it. You just you just put it on the palm of your hand and it just floats out in front of you and it does your thing and you put your palm out when you're done and it floats back over to you.
Wow. It's kind of like, it sounds like one of those trained hawks, but with technology.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Never mind. Maybe that sounds fun. I can't wait to mess with that then. And that's sweet. It's great because we've done some adjustment on our end, no curtains as we talk. So, I'll be down there a little early. We'll get the whole prep day. We're going to have a whole Houston day, honestly. To ourselves. It's always fun. Us two roaming around out your way is always a good time. So getting a full day of that, sign me the heck up before the road trip. So
sorry, people are messaging me. There is no curtains on this show. So if you saw me looking, that's what's going on. But no, I can't wait, dude. The fact that we're gonna have two drones. We're gonna have we got cameras. We got microphones up the wazoo. We got stuff. We have so much stuff.
Great.
And actually, I'll put a link down in the description if you guys want to support us. We do have Summer Stock shirts available over on the newsroom shop. Any of the proceeds is going to go to me and Zach paying for this trip because him and I are both spending a lot of money. And so if you want to help out, buy a shirt. Maybe we'll even find a way, if you want to PayPal into a bucket, we'll figure that out. But if you do want to support us, otherwise enjoy, watch it.
Exactly.
The best way to support us is watching it on YouTube. That's really, if you want to really support us, watch spread the word, share it, because this is going to be bigger than anything we've ever done before. And it's going to be fun. And the fact that we're doing it in like 2 days is crazy.
I know. Like I said, it can't wait. Thrilled. Still got to get through part of the season first, but that road trip is going to be amazing. And this will be, like I said, it's our greatest undertaking as creators in this space. So we'll keep updates on you, and be ready. Videos will be coming out during that lead up as we travel. All right, let's talk football, and let's go back to what I was discussing earlier. And we'll slight touch in, but we'll bounce back to it. But look, for Houston, and honestly for the two remaining bubble teams that lost crucial games last week, the Roughnecks and the Renegades, do or die time. There's a potential that both of these teams there's a potential that at least one of these teams gets eliminated this week. Just as a thought. So, if things don't work out their way, you have to win and you stay in the hunt. Roughnecks win against Michigan, keeps things close. If they lose, rough go. You have to keep on hoping to God that you can stay in the hunt. And honestly, this is the thing. If Michigan wins, Houston loses, and then you have Birmingham even lose. Remember, the tiebreaker goes against them. They already got swept. Mm-hmm. So not great there. Arlington feels like a lot of missed chances and definitely is do or die. And it's boy, oh boy, is it the DC Defenders quite the matchup to do, where you have to fight your way to keep in the hunt.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough weekend, and it's a shame, Zach, that this also has to be the weekend, and we'll get this as we get into the picks, that we have overlapping scheduling. We have the Michigan and Houston game overlapping with the Stallions game, and especially, it really sucks when you're at the game, Zach, because then you got to watch the other one on your phone. At least when they're both away games. Honestly, when they're both away, there is a little bit of fun to it because I could just chill here up on my monitor, have both the games. But as we look towards the playoffs, I'll say this: one of those teams is getting eliminated this weekend from the playoffs. I won't say both, but one of them is.
I think at least one conference gets locked up minimum, and we'll dive in more on who each of us thinks that is. But it kind of feels that way. And it's still good that it's later this year than last year, so that's nice that we can talk this. But matchups be damned, last week kind of set up what the scenario is for right now. So, can't do much about it. You got to play and execute against your opponents is all we got to say. We'll touch back into that a little bit later. What we did want to talk and get going, and we have a big conversation, I think, between you and I on this, is that the season 3 discussion is going to keep growing louder because it's week 8. So, a lot more, the longer the season goes, yes, there's been stuff talking about next year, but you guys know in this space, nothing's guaranteed. Nothing is ever certain until it's fully solidified certain, or we see it hit the field. And, another sign of next year coming up, along with, we talk about CBA, we talk about the international program, we talk about the UFL's HQ in Arlington being a multi-year setup out that way, and trying to build that base. Season 3 tickets, the renewals are starting, which, as you and I had talked, first off, more upfront this year than last. And at least in what we can tell in pretty much all the markets, it seems, renewal prices dropped for some of them, pretty significant chunks to get people back in seats.
Even here in Houston, where we didn't see the prices go up. I know that was a big complaint from people this year, is that prices went up in a lot of the markets. Houston, we didn't see a price hike, but we still saw the price go down for our renewals this year. So you got to applaud that. I do like the fact that they're starting it earlier. I think that solves for part of it. Now, what'll be interesting to see is when do they open it up to the general public? Right? Because, okay, you can renew the season ticket holders that you have now, but as you can see in some of these markets, it's not a whole lot, right? You're still going to want to get those guys in. The good and the bad. Some, the May perks could have been perkier. I'm all for a town hall, a virtual town hall, but maybe throw in a hoodie or a shirt. I know you got boatloads of Roughneck stuff laying around. Mm-hmm. The Battlehawks, they get like a keychain or something. Like, I know there's enough merch sitting around for all these teams that you could have threw a hat in there if you renew in May, right?
Right.
But to me, the biggest thing, and this is just for me locally, but they hired a ticket guy for Houston that lives local to the area. Now that to me is a big deal.
Yeah.
So, and I think we heard that for Birmingham as well, which that's
what I have been told is that they have started, is that Birmingham also hired someone that is apparently tied to the Barons. That's the minor league baseball team out there. If we're talking sports scene, that's one of the bigger teams along like the Birmingham Bulls in hockey out that way. But yeah, that's interesting because like that's the second team now I've heard that they've started looking into, more of a local based guy or someone that knows the area a bit more, which let's be frank, that doesn't always sell tickets, but what it does, if you're a ticket guy, you're gonna, the area better, which means you can probably more navigate if you are local,
right?
More navigate the scene, more understand the needs of the market, which I mean, I'll be frank, from what I can tell, that wasn't always what was the case with what has been set up. And I mean, let's be fair too. The ticketing and marketing departments in the league this year have been through the ringer, whether it's critiques, which some valid, I think a lot valid, some not. And the fact that they got upended like 2 months before the season started from just not good returns. So clearly this is an issue the league knows is like a core problem right now. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm wondering if that's going to be like addressed as they move forward. We see more the local, more the guy who knows the on the ground stuff. Part of it is the upfront legwork, as you can speak to, I think, but like that does, I think, help a little bit to me, is knowing your market a bit better and having like that know-how of like what doesn't work and what is the zeitgeist of the area.
Well, I've seen it in the past with the two previous ticket reps, and actually the three. The latest one wasn't local to Houston, but he still did a great job, right? And I gave him his credit because that dude actually the way we renewed my tickets last year was so easy, right?
Nice.
But having the local guys, like you were mentioning, it allows you to do those other things. They know the area. They know where people go to set up events, right? Because you can set up an event anywhere, but if you set up an event by my house, Zach, you're going to get me and that's it. Because not very many people live out here, right? Whereas you go down Houston, where as much as I hate that because it's such a pain in the ass to get there, everyone else is going to get there besides me, right?
Right.
And even more importantly, because you also have to remember, part of doing these engagement events is part about getting people there to draw interest, but it's also about getting interest from people that were there and they just so happen to be there at the same time as you. I'll tell you, in 2020, there were so many people that I talked to that I was saying, how'd you hear about the Roughnecks? Tonight, I was just here at the bar and they were doing this thing. So I came in the room and I saw so-and-so or whoever, blah, 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 like June Jones was here. So I wandered in, right? Like whatever it is. And to me, having those people local gets you in those types of places where you're going to get those new fans, because again, those events are great for people like me, but they already have my money, right?
Right.
The real reason they're doing these things, and let's be honest, and it's not a bad thing, but it's so they can sell tickets. And so if you do, and this is probably why they stopped doing a lot of these things before, is I remember they did one in 2023. I was talking to the guy. This is prior to the merger. Mm-hmm. And I said, how's it going? He said, pretty good attendance, but everyone here's season ticket holders. I said, that's good. He said, no, not. He's like, yeah, it's good, but we're trying to sell tickets too. Like, so basically we rented out a room. We gave everyone free food. We bought everyone drinks, but we didn't actually make any money. So, when you look at it like that, yeah, that is kind of a stinger, So, we'll see how it all plays out. I think it's going to be a net positive, but more importantly, we look at the beginning of the season, Zach. What was it? Poo-poo, bad news. Oh, everybody wants to strike. Nobody wants to play for the UFL. Mm-hmm. Only bad news. This is the UFL injecting good news into the end of their season. Now, will the masses pick it up? Probably not, unfortunately. But to me, this is at least I won't say the first because there was other little things, but the first public confirmation of season 3. And that should be pretty big news. Why is that big news, Zach? Well, let's look at the flipping past. Did the USFL technically made it to a third season, the most modern one? Right. It technically made it to a third season. Technically made it to a fourth season, but it really didn't. The XFL, same thing. Any of these that come before, you maybe, if you're lucky, got one season. If you're really lucky, you got 2. But the last time that we saw season 3 of spring football was the original USFL in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And so to me, this is actually a pretty big deal. If they're confirming a season 3, they are the first spring league under the same banner to play 3 consecutive seasons. Now, we have to get to that third season first because, and again, I'll always point out the good where there could be bad. Maybe they need money. Maybe that's the play. I don't think that's the case. I have other reasons for thinking that they're going to be around next year.
Well, to be fair, I mean, to be open about this, yes, if we're talking about profitability, the gate revenue has never been the true first come. I think for this merger, I think TV's still been the heavy focus, but you do need, and it's really a cultural thing. The more we learn about not having people in the stands or noticing is we've had lengthy talks on PFN Discord, link in the description, by the way, where it's people respond to what seems popular and what people think is working. And I think the more we talk, I think that's the thing. The fans in the stands thing, now I'm finally 3 years in, I think I get it. It's just popular zeitgeist stuff, Yep. Does it look popular to you? Mm-hmm. If you're a casual guy, and you're not heavily invested like we are, where we just love football and we just love this, and I think that's a problem they're going to have to try and solve, obviously. And then also, as we've talked at length, this renewal more focusing, I think and we've talked at length about this a lot. I think that the relationship in some markets between season ticket holders and their prospective offices needs a bit of a reality check in terms of, okay, how do we fix this? Because I know for a fact, talking with people in Birmingham, that is not right now it doesn't seem like a situation that is in a good standing at the moment. I think that one needs to, I think they need some good graces back. Other markets, it just feels like contemplation. We talked about, you talked to Houston at length in the past. I mean, shoot, man, we've talked about Michigan up until this year. They finally, that's a success story of its own, I think, of what happens when you put a little more emphasis on the boots on the ground. Although some would point to Memphis being the opposite. And it's a hard balance. Every market's a little bit different. But I think that's the bigger, that's one of the bigger the signs with this renewal is how do you repair some, maybe, I wouldn't say damage, but maybe some slight cracked relationships here. Mm-hmm. Is my thought, because it's there. So how do you fix it?
Yeah.
And I think the price helps a lot. Now, what else are you going to do with perks? For example, the Arlington perks I looked at. I love this idea, and I wish every market was doing this because I'm looking at the San Antonio ones to kind of compare. Everyone's got a little bit different, but I love, and arena football does this indoor especially, the comp tickets.
Yep.
And you notice that each person gets 4 comp tickets for 2026. Now, you're asking, what does that do? Well, it doesn't sell you don't sell it. So you're not getting money off that per se, so that's going into tickets to someone else. But what it does, it creates your season ticket holder as almost an ambassador for the league. You're giving, you can either give tickets to somebody that's one of your friends. You can give it to someone who is a family member that maybe is in the area, or something like that is the idea. And then hopefully it incentivizes them to come back. And then if you're lucky, some return lucky, you maybe get a new season ticket holder out of that. And I think that's something I would love to see more. I didn't see every package yet. I'm kind of going through real quick, but not all of them have these comp tickets.
There it is, Zachy boy. I knew it was coming. I tried to mute it, and then
I saw you trying to hide it.
It came. Sorry. Go on.
Funny. But yeah, I think that's something I'd love to see explored. What also doesn't help though? When I click on the Michigan social media link, it takes me to the Brahmas ticketing page. So that's not a great start.
The one perk for next year, I talked about this before the show, that just bothers me, and they can fix this. There's still a couple weeks to fix this.
Oh, sure.
They said new perk for 2026 for the Roughnecks. And one of those new perks was if you're a season ticket holder, at the last home game of the year, you'll be able to go on the field after the game and do a meet and greet with the players. I love that idea. You know what else, Zach? I also loved that idea last year when they did it. And so to me, if it's a new perk next year, that means we're not getting it this year. Mm-hmm. But we had it last year. Just give it to us this year, too. I mean, to me, you want to get that goodwill, especially before the season's over. You still have 2 home games. There's plenty of time. And you know what? I will be that guy. I'm going to be at the game this weekend. I'll be like, hey, I saw this a new perk for next year. You should do this for this year because we had it last year. And they probably don't even know that because they weren't. I don't think the guys that are. Well, no, we had Brett last year running the show in Houston. So
yeah. Shout out to Brett, anyway. By the way. Hope he's doing well. That dude's a real one, by the way. If you ever 100%. Meet Brett Zaleski, great guy.
Yep. But, I mean, overall, this is good news for the league. This is stuff, again, you would hope all of the media companies would be talking about it just as much as they talked about the other thing. Bigger news to me, this also confirms no relocation. So anybody that was hoping for, name your pick, Zach, because I've heard it about the Stallions. I've heard it about Houston. I've heard it about Memphis. We're not going anywhere, at least for next year. But it also seems to confirm no expansion because there's a 2-week playoff.
Right. Which, I mean, if you expand, you could, that's hypothetical. I mean, we are getting into speculation. Let's slap a speculation zone on it. Let's do it. It's been a minute. Yeah. Slap it on there one way or another. This is speculation zone, people, is all I could say. Yeah. Anyway, now that we're into the speculation zone. So, yeah, interesting. So, 10 games, 2 playoffs, so same usual schedule. But as you and I have talked, and the league said that they're starting the process. David Dykman said that they are definitely expanding next year. So what does that look like? You don't have to expand the amount of teams in, but you could, and it would make more TV dates, more gated and higher profile ticketing events that would bring in hopefully more fans to your events. So fascinating. Right. It really puts on notice what could happen next year or if they course correct for next year.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's hard to say that it was ever confirmed other than David Dykman's legit saying. I mean, he came out and
put the hammer down. This is happening.
It is happening. There was no ifs, ands, or buts around it. But we never officially got it from the league. To me, this feels like their kind of way of saying ain't happening next year. I mean, it could. Maybe it is. Maybe they do expand, but that seems tough, Zach, with a 10-week schedule. You're going to have to do some fancy things with that schedule. Maybe you change even the way divisions work to where teams aren't playing each team twice. I don't know. You work that out however they want to work that out.
So you can still... If you expand, that's what would be hard. Because, if you're, in theory, you're making both conferences one extra team. Yeah, that would be, you just have to be, it almost feels like one of these doesn't get a double up,
Something. Yeah, something would have to be, I don't know. Anyway, but we will see. But it seems tough. Now, what David Dykman could have been saying at the time, or what he had meant to say was, we're going to announce expansion next year. Like next year, we're going to announce blah, blah teams. And, I could say, okay, yeah, next year we're going to expand to 2 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe over the summer we'll hear that announcement that just to even reaffirm season 3 of, hey, get your season 3 tickets. And guess what? In 2027, we have X city, Y city. Put in your $50 reservations today to lock in, before the seat starts going or whatever it is. Buy a shirt, whatever.
Right.
Maybe we'll see. Speculation zone, of course.
Oh, of course. Look, I think that's going to be on the docket all off season until they say they're locked in is the thing, because look, you talk expansion. Expansion is like that phrase in any level of arena and now spring football. It's like the big dopamine, like primal brain rush thing for football fans. More markets. Oh my God. Right. New teams, new rosters, new head coaches. My city might have a football team that I didn't have before. That's not NFL. For anyone that's like maybe not anti NFL, but like NFL too big. Blah blah blah. Yeah, but that's what it is. It's the big buzzword. It gets people talking.
Oh, they love it. Yeah. No. Well, and again, it feels like one of the ultimate signs of legitimacy, right?
Exactly. Like the growth. Everyone wants to see growth and stability.
Yep. Yep. So
and that is definitely a thing that says, oh yes, we definitely have interest. We definitely
now see this. I think this is the earliest we've ever seen another season confirmed, because with the USFL, I think it was the day after the championship, the first championship, that they confirmed season 2. Mm-hmm. And then it was a little bit longer after that we actually got official confirmation of season 3 before it ultimately ended up merging.
Right.
And so the season hasn't even finished. They're talking about season 3. And I didn't know if it was coming, but funny enough, about a week prior to this, I got an email with a survey from the Roughnecks talking about 2026 season. And I said, oh, interesting. Interesting. They're already talking about next year. I like that,
By the way, if you go on the ticketing page of the Roughnecks, I'm going to ask, does the name Kevin Kennedy ring a bell?
No.
Well, he's got 2 quotes on the like sell tab of like things to promote why these games are great to come to. So like each team has like quotes of like fans. Kevin, if you're in this show, like you have 2 of them. One of them is, quote, "It's very affordable to come to these games." The other one is, quote, "Interacting with the players has been something that's been really impressive."
Can I put a quote in there?
Go to UFL.com, click the Roughnecks team logo, and then you'll see it's in the season ticket members get more. It's basically like the sell page for the renewals. It's not like you can't put it in.
I'm getting in there.
You should definitely throw one in.
I'm going to make that my May perk. Like you
get a quote on the website.
On the page.
It's like a Patreon perk, but
it'll just be
that does sound like a Patreon perk, actually. I'm not even going to lie.
It'll be that stupid video clip I clipped of Trump at the State of the Union. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill.
You know what? Shout out to the Roughnecks for sitting on that one, because like they got the Drill Baby Drill tab, the Drill Baby Drill shirts. Actually, on the members get more photos. That's one of them they show as a tailgate for one of the tailgates they're doing a cornhole. Both of I'm assuming father and son here, they got Drill Baby Drill on the shirts.
Hell yeah.
Right off the gate. Do. And then of course the Predator couple, because you can't have the season ticket packages without them mentioned or shown in there. So
they are the season ticket, man. They're like season ticket extreme, because they don't just go to the Roughnecks games at home. They're like traveling to every game. They are. I signed them up. I couldn't do it. I did it. That one year when we traveled, it was season 2 of the USFL. Dude, I was like dead, and I only did it for like half the season. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
more power to them. Honestly, super fans of galore. More power to you if you can go to extra games. You guys are the real ones for real.
Hell yeah.
Those Brahmas fans. Jesus, you have one less game this year, and you're going to be out there. Which, by the way, that's been talked about at length before the year, but that is something I'm watching for next year, and that is on my. I won't call it a to-do list of like discussion points, but I'll call it my radar. It's one of the top priorities, like on a market basis. San Antonio, UFL.
Yeah.
We're gonna play this 6-game road trip card again because no, we can't. You can't do it again. No. You got to have 5 and 5.
Especially because that should be one of your prime target markets. There's no NFL team there.
For how much they have touted this market. I mean, remember, guys, they're trying. We have talked about San Antonio since the AAF days. They're trying to get back to those days. So you can't. Like that's an example. We talk about playing around with the market. That's one that's very abrupt and in your face. Is like, okay, so I'm a season ticket holder. I get one less game.
Yeah.
How do you sell that? Like you can't sell that, you know?
And then in St. Louis, I saw on Facebook, they're all learning that they don't get that game included. So they have to pay for that game.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Like that's tomfoolery right there. And that is, again, that's where we talk about this like cracks between like a season ticket member versus the league is like, okay, you got to repair some of that or at least start mending that. Cause like that can lead to a full out, like not revolt, but just dissipation. You know,
right?
Some people will be like, "Oh, like Birmingham's like no. Birmingham is that plus dumb scheduling. We knew about this from last year type of thing, or from years past type of thing this past week." You know, but it can lead to something like that on a regular basis, and you don't want to see that. Right. No, because you have to fix that, and that's harder to do is to fix over time fractured fans like that. But you know, look at Michigan. There's got to be some tips from the Michigan market that you got to take away and start using, because that has been a success story for the league that I'm glad we get to talk about more, because that's proof in the pudding that it's not, you know, I see people talk about this. It's not a USFL market issue. It's a how do you correct errors issue.
Right.
That's the evidence. They're the number 3 selling ticket market in the UFL this year. They took the crown from San Antonio, you know, on the average one. So. Yeah. And you can talk Monday games or whatnot. No, Michigan's proven it. They're moving up. You know, success plus people on the ground and doing the work. It's good.
Well, I would argue this the record helps too.
It does help.
Just to be fair,
winning does help. But you can also, and I've seen this in arena and indoor. It's also how you go out and you present yourself. You can get people you can get people to watch a product that is a losing product. It is how you address and attack it as a salesperson. So
I do agree with that. I do,
but I do valid. But yeah, your point is absolutely valid. I don't want to erase that because that is true. That winning does cure many ills. It doesn't cure all. As again, Birmingham, I think is the perfect example of it. You have to do more than just win. Sure, you have to be present and do stuff. So
yeah, because even that, it's like you're winning championships, and and that's where having local will help. But. We do have some transactions, some that I'm sure you don't want to talk about, others that I'm sure other people will be happy to hear about.
Pain, suffering. I want to call off work because I got to process this a little more.
Well, it was just in time for this weekend too. So this is unfortunate news. Frank Ginda moved to IR. I think I heard pec injury. Is that what's going on?
That's what I understand is, it's pectoral, which is the same injury he had last year. So that is a rough go for him.
That's always a shame because, you know, especially short seasons, good season, you're going in, you know, probably going to be in the playoffs. And so having to sit and watch that from the sidelines is going to be tough. Regardless of like the gameplay, I'm just looking at from like his perspective. You hate to see that.
Yeah, and you know, we talked a little bit at length around the UFL with this, but this defense has been ravaged by injuries. Levante Taylor also out on IR as well, one of the key cornerbacks. Javin White's been hurt and has been dealing with problems this year, which I think I'm hoping his wasn't as severe, so I'm hoping that he's back for the playoffs. But like that linebacking core has been ripped to pieces from injury too this year as well. It's been hard. You know, they've had to juggle a lot of kind of those 2-level positions as well. They're making it work, but you know, at some point, you know, you got to see if something gives or you hope to get a little healthy. But rough blow, and it's a leader too. And also, I have to say this because I want to keep stressing this, and I hope the league takes this stance next year. It's a league star. You know, we have actual like UFL stars that are guys that have come back like year 4, year 5 for spring football. Like that's what I hate is you lose a star in the league that's like out there and doing his thing and like being like, hey, I'm playing, I'm killing it, and I'm doing this and making a career in football here, too. So it just sucks all around. And he was also having an excellent year where he was looking like he was on pace for another Defensive Player of the Year nod. Now that's a little more up in the air, but it's just too bad. It really is. He's a great leader.
Well, moving to the other side of things. So if you're a Stallions fan, this is probably the best news you've heard in a while, because if you haven't been paying attention, last year we thought they had an injury problem because they had, I think at one point, 14 injuries. Turned out didn't really be much of a problem because they won the championship. Oh. This year, they have another injury problem, but it seems very specific to the quarterback. And what are they at? The fifth quarterback? Fifth?
Five have played on turf this year.
In 7 weeks.
In 7 weeks.
And, one of those guys that went out early in the season, Alex Magoo, looks to be returning from IR.
Yes.
Which, as we saw last weekend, Case Cookus went down. Jamar came in, did Jamar stuff, snatched victory away from my heart. But I can't even be mad at it. I can't even be mad at it.
It really felt like I was watching 2022 all over again. The only thing that took me out of it was that Jamar's helmet is like one of those like newer looking ones compared to what he used to wear. And the fact that you see the Under Armour logo on the jersey instead of just a USFL in the past. It felt like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Watching him step in and just do his thing to save a game.
Well, and I think you brought this up, Zach. How crazy is it? We're heading to the off season, and there's a potential debate on who's your starter, Alex Magoo or Jamar Smith.
Unreal.
In God's year of 2025.
And then you throw in the mix, Case Cookus is still enough healthy to go in, and you're like, wait, Case, what? He's on the Stallions? And I got to pick between those three?
The 3 championship quarterbacks, basically. Not championship, but...
How the hell did the three stars of the 2022 USFL championship end up on the same roster? Think about this. This is 3 years in the making cinema right here.
Yeah.
All the heroics from that game, all the fun from that game. Now they're all right there. All the stories. One quarterback room. And you got to pick one to play this week.
Well, and it's so funny, right? The Stallions fans, God bless their hearts. They're still a little bit in meltdown mode of like, oh my God, what a horrible season. And meanwhile, they're 5-2, tied for the first place in the USFL division. And I mean, I wish I could be so picky. All right.
How do you, it's unbelievable. The closest comp is the 2023 season, like the first 5 weeks, where I felt like the sky's falling in New Orleans had boat raced them out the building. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, wait a minute, they're still there? Imagine me right now. I'm like, oh, we're having a freaking killer year. We're 5-2, and Birmingham's right here, and I don't feel confident at all beating Skip Holtz as a coach. What is happening? They're in prime spot to still make another championship bid. They could be hosting, for God's sake. If the things play out to where the tiebreakers lead to Michigan losing. Madness.
It's at least the last few weeks, even if the playoffs get locked in this weekend, the last few weeks are going to come down to then positioning, because you look at the top, everybody's basically tied. Just tied up, 4-way tie for the top spot, both divisions. All right, kind of fun. And you know what? I'm hoping to screw things up for you guys this weekend. We'll get into the picks here shortly. Ref's law. It's my law. My team should win, but hold on, we got other games to get to and stuff like that first.
I can't imagine, and we should just definitely make a QB prediction as well. I can't imagine you have to sit there and you are Skip Holtz and going, man, who the heck do I pick this week? I just don't know how to do it, because I got Jamar, I got Alex, who's back and healthy, and I've been wanting to see him hit the field again. And man, Case has been steady. It's like I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
Good problem to have.
And you're going to St. Louis this week, so expecting without it being a Friday, so expecting a 30K crowd in attendance to deal with. So you got to pick the guy that's most ready for that atmosphere too. Mm-hmm. I mean, good freaking luck. I see cases for all three. That's what's funny. I could see all three having their own claim to it. Wild.
Yeah. Hey, I'll just say this because this just came through my inbox. If you have a child, they're free for the Roughnecks game this weekend.
Ooh.
So if you're going to the Roughnecks game and you got some kiddos, you don't need to buy them tickets. Just bring them to the game.
Hey.
Well, actually, check your email. You got to click a link to get the tickets. So don't just show up. Click the link in your email.
You might want to do that. But hey, I'll tell you what. And I'm not a parent, but talking to parents, hey, kids free thing. It's always a good way to get them out of the house and do something to, not sit around, good for the parents and the folks. So that's a win. It's a big win.
100%. Well, it's funny because I'm going to the game this weekend with my friend and he's got kids and I wasn't sure if he was going to bring them, but now I'm going to tell him to bring them because we got extra. Hey, we got
as
tickets.
well.
Why not?
Have a fun time. Why not? I was going to say.
And do more of that, UFL.
Yeah.
See?
Indoctrinate your children.
Working. Yeah. I'll tell you, you say that, though, Zach, but that was a huge focus of 2020. And I had a lot of conversations with their marketing team, and they said, if you can get the kids hooked on the product, you get their parents hooked on the product.
That sounds...
you can't beat that.
That sounds as WWE as you could have imagined when you think about the focus on what WWE markets to.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is a staple to a team. I mean, credit, like it's not totally wrong. Like you're thinking years down the line if you're talking like that, but like still, hey, free kids weekend. Go check it out.
Yeah.
It's football.
Come check it out.
Big game ahead. Maybe the kid screams will distract EJ. Freaking
what do
EJ Perry.
They're putting Danny Etling out this weekend.
Get away from me. Get away from me. Go shut the camera off. You mentioned that and put that thought
let
in
Perkins
his head.
rest. They're gonna say, "No, we got this game. It's the Roughnecks." Blah blah.
MB Perkins needs to reaffirm his story that he's the MVP over Jordan Teamu. And I'm not going to say the name that Jake gives him because I feel that's
feel
mean. Bad for that.
That's mean. Let's get into the picks because we got to talk about this first game because I got so much to say about the second game.
Okay.
So
yeah, we got to get through. It's not the most ideal Friday night matchup, guys. Let's just get that out of the way. It's the two teams that have no stake anymore in the season. Memphis is going to San Antonio. This is purely for entertainment's sake. If you love the Showboats, if you love the Brahmas, if you're a fan of this football league, you're tuning in to watch and maybe see perhaps who's going to get evaled for like more tape, or ideally, because both these teams are going to have coaching discussion, which I think it's going to be a massive focus in this broadcast, given that they're out of the playoffs now. Do these staffs have anything in the tank to show the league office that they're worth keeping around? Jim Turner and Peyton Party, it's been rough years for both of them trying to deal with stuff. And credit, Wade Phillips hasn't said he's gone, but if I'm looking at the writing on the wall, it sure feels like both these teams are going to be evaluating who's leading at the clipboard come next season.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I can't even remember who I submitted on my pick sheet for this one this week. And that's how tough it is. It really is tough because you look at these teams, right? Like,
you're playing a tape bowl, like that's the thing. Yeah.
We're getting it early this year. Usually, it seems to always happen in the last week of the season. We're just so happen to getting it a few weeks early this year, which is a shame because it feels like you can't really give it the twist on the worst record gets the, whoever wins gets the pick in the draft next year. So there's a little bit of a shame out of it. I don't even know what I think, Zach.
You don't even know what you think? Oh,
I don't even know what I think.
Oh, no.
I think the Showboats are going to pull it out. I think the Showboats, I don't really know. I don't have much to say other than here. I think it's going to be more entertaining than people think. To your point, Zach, I think they're going to be trying out a lot of things that they wouldn't normally try out. This game has the potential for either to be the most exciting game of the weekend or a very boring, slow game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this game, it could be like 38-39 or something like that, Zach. We've seen these games in the NFL, Zach. I've been fans of the Lions for years, so I've seen many of these games. End of the season, you don't want to go out with one win on the season, so all of a sudden you're trying like crazy trick plays all second half, and you're getting like punters throwing touchdowns and like wacky things. That's what I want this game to be this weekend. That's what I want it to be. This game is a pride game. This is both of teams' shot right here. This is their best shot to get another win on the season. And I think they're going to put their damn all into it. And it could even be overtime.
Well, and keep in mind, I guess this wouldn't apply because it's not the last game of the year. So the Tank Bowl like structure doesn't work that way. But, loser does get a bit better draft status. Think about that way, because this we haven't seen anything that would rule it being this way. And I don't think they would want to call it a Tank Bowl now. Cause like what happens if you call it that?
Yeah, it's 3 games. Yeah.
Like that's why week 10 works. Cause like it's finite. So yeah, winner of this gets a tiebreaker and would be second pick if things hold out the way they do. Loser likely, barring complete flip, is probably going to be the number 1 pick for the 2026 collegiate draft. So something to keep in mind too, because remember, like if we're talking next year, I mean, that's also a piece of this is you're basically drafting for prospects or potential new recruits you're going to get in post the NFL circuit, draft wise for the league. So things we're watching out for right there too.
Well, and you know what's crazy about this, Zach? It really shows that any given year in spring football, anything could happen. We saw it with the Pittsburgh Maulers a few years ago, where they went from the worst team to being in the championship the next year. Now we have the Brahmas, who were in the championship last year, and the first team to be eliminated from the playoffs this year, shortly after by the Showboats, I think the following day. But,
I have a new twist thanks to James Larson as we're talking. So, according to James, and I'm reading his tweet right now, quote, the Showboats will see movement at QB over the final few games. All 3 are expected to get snaps. So, it's going to be a rotation throughout.
This is when I want to see it. Put them all 3 on the field at the same time. Don't be scared.
This doesn't change my pick, but it definitely makes me more uncertain because all 3 of them are their own beast. Because I picked Memphis for this. I felt slightly shaky with either one because it's just, again, 1 in 6 teams. But now I feel even more because no rhythm if you're going to do multiple in a game. So fun. Good luck with that. Yeah, my bet is that San Antonio's defense is complete dog doo-doo. I don't trust it whatsoever. And I think that Memphis with Jaron Horton's able to do enough to keep Kevin Hogan and company at bay to where they can squeak out a win in San Antonio. That's my rationale. But that becomes complicated more so if I have to play QB roulette for the last 3 weeks of the season and I don't know who the hell's going to be in what quarter, what possession, what drive. So good luck to everyone out there. That's going to be a fun little experiment to see, because odds are that's also probably trying to see if you have anything in the tank for next year. Mm-hmm. I debate. I mean, I don't know if I don't know who fully returns is always uncertain, but like there is a high possibility all 3 of these QBs could try and return, sans maybe a draft pick or something. So put that out there. Just going to say it.
Yep. Now, game of the week, Zach. Game of the week. Game of the flipping week. Refs law the game. Michigan Panthers coming all the way down to Houston. Put the swangers on the bus because we're getting down. I mean, Houston's going to win this game. You know that, right? This is a trap game for Michigan.
Yeah.
Look at what we did to the Birmingham Stallions in the first half of that game last week.
Okay.
Just look at it. Look what we did. Michigan isn't going to be able to come back from our first half walloping. We're going to be so good. It's going to be amazing. CJ is going to show the world why he's coach of the year, coach of the decade, coach of our lifetime. This is our chance, and we're already 300 times better than we were at this point last season. Time to make it 400.
You're
Time
not
to
wrong.
make it 400.
Boy, man, I love hearing your talk on this. It's always the energy. It's always high.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna eat homer pick or not. I'm gonna stick with Michigan here.
Oh, Zach, you're gonna regret it,
dude. You know how it is with us meeting up when it's Houston Michigan matchups. I gotta pick the other side. I gotta do that. These are special occasions for you and I, where we watch to see who can laugh on social media. Usually, it's been me lately, by the way.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
You know, I'm just saying.
We'll see who's laughing at halftime, Zach. Okay, we'll see.
Oh, you're killing me.
What is your silly logic around this win that Michigan can't pull off?
I think the Panthers' offense is hitting its stride at the right time. I think Perkins has been getting better. I think that the fact that Matt Colburn coming back for the run game is a huge boon, not only for switching up between Toa and company, but also the fact that now you have two pass catching backs. One's more of a bruiser, one's more of a guy that can kind of slink and slunk between tackles. I think the defense is my worry. Houston, I feel, and this is where I'll give you bonus points here. If they protect McClendon and they don't completely collapse in the second half in protection, which I will say Michigan's pass rush is a bit decimated thanks to linebacker injuries and just some banged up stuff. Garrett Marino, by the way, didn't practice apparently today as we're recording. So keeping that in mind is one thing. But, you know, if they can control the line against Michigan's front and maybe get quick passes, you know, and attack that passing game efficiently, I think there is a chance for a fun game here. I think it'll be a fun game because Houston's much better with Jalen McClendon behind center anyway, and they do have some weapons now. But I don't trust the Roughnecks to pull this out, and I think that Michigan's overall roster, and I think that just in general, I think it's just a better run team right now. So, I'm going to go with Houston. Or sorry, put that back. That clip is out there now.
Oh, Freudian slip, Zachy boy.
I'm going with Michigan, but now you have that one for later use. Feel free. Why not?
Prediction. CJ Johnson will have a successful super challenge this weekend. Nay.
Oh, man.
He will have two successful super challenges this weekend.
Mr. I'll challenge anything for the sake of
and
anything.
They may be both before the first half ends. For like a cumulative of like 6.5 yards or something.
I know something's there. I could see it. No, CJ. Nothing is there.
This is our week. Those super challenges, they're going our way. We'll be there. Some of us will be there. I'll be there.
Expect high offense. We've been seeing more of this past few weeks, but like I think this will be a fun game. Like I'm gonna be playing out there. Like this will be another like whoever's playing. Like both of us are gonna be sweating it out. This isn't gonna be some obvious route or anything like last year's games. This will be a sweat out contest. So be prepared.
The only thing I'm worried about, Zach, is if Coach Runza starts like mogging our players out on the sideline because I don't know. I mean, he's almost like the Chad meme too. I shouldn't even say these things but anyway, he kind of is. And I can just see him on the sideline just mogging them. And that might impact him. I'm not going to lie.
You're right.
I'll be scared because I sit on the visitor's side. Like if he looks over at me, I'm going to be like, oh shit, it's hard to hide in this damn shirt. He's going to start mogging me halfway through the game. I told you about when Ref's Law, the first week it didn't happen. He DM'd me on Twitter. It's like Ref's Law with a big X. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy too. Yes. Trust me.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm most worried about.
That'll be hilarious. I'm hoping he does. I hope he does. Same time frame. Birmingham is going to take on St. Louis. Now, we have our game of the week because it's us two. This, I think, is the consensus game of the week for most people's thought, whether it's the quarterback decision, whether it's Birmingham visiting St. Louis, which, trust me, we heard all last year about if they play in St. Louis, there's no way they're going to win. So this is a big moment for well, look at Birmingham. Let's see if they can play under pressure after not winning in DC with the crowd noise theory going out and about. So big game, I think, there. And for the St. Louis Battlehawks, look, I mean, this is about seeding as well. A credit. We've talked a bit about in some other shows, DC, and in Discord, that DC might have to discuss on who's playing where. We'll talk later when that gets confirmed or not. But, look, you're playing for seeding, you're playing for bragging rights. It's a highly contested game last year, very chippy game last year. These two definitely are the ones that I think were darlings of both their sides of the coin in the merger. And I think that's stuck since last year's matchup. So fascinating. Before we do that, though, thoughts again. I mean, we do this every time to time. 2 broadcasts at once. We got to work through that. I know it's not ideal, but them's the breaks when it comes to the scheduling side of it. TV's got a TV.
That it always seems to happen for the games that I go to in person. There's a few times where it was not, and those were fine because I got to sit in my office or on my TV, multi-view with both the games. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of neat. Being at the game, it kind of sucks because I'm trying to pay attention to the game on the field, but then I'm watching the game on the phone. And, I watch all the games as it is, but of course it would have to be during, like, these two are the 2 games that I'm actually like, I'm invested in that Stallions Battlehawks game. 1, for a couple reasons. 2, if Houston has a shot of getting in the playoffs, you kind of want the Stallions to lose, although we'll get to my pick. And, I want to I won't say which game, but I think we all know which game I wouldn't mind if it was overlapping with here of all the games on the map, right? So anyway,
what can you do?
I'll say this, going toward like the actual game itself. Yes, Birmingham is going to have to travel to St. Louis and play in front of one of the loudest, rowdiest crowds that the UFL has. We've even seen how it can ruffle feathers in the past with your team, Zach, right?
Yeah.
Like they even got under his skin so much, whether they was spitting or not spitting, things happened, right? And those things help during a game, right? Yeah,
QB switch or not, I will give credit where credit's due. That crowd, look, that crowd's legit. That is a true, honestly, the most true home field advantage you're going to find in the league right now. DC does have somewhat of one. I personally don't think it's the same as it's in previous years. That's up for debate, but it's definitely present in St. Louis, hands down. You can't debate that whatsoever. So, you got to deal with the crowd noise. You got to deal with the crowds getting on you and being right next to you and a bunch of people on top of you. And, as many of those guys know that are in this league now, it's going to feel kind of like, if you've been in the NFL, you'll know. If you've been in a bigger college program, you're going to remember. It's going to feel like that again.
Yep. Now I'll say this, especially after last weekend, Zach, you can never count out Coach Skip Holtz and the Stallions.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do it.
You can't.
He will outcoach you 9.9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10. He will just do it every time. And when it comes to loud fans, good coaches, great players, huge leads at halftime, it never flippin' matters. The outcome is generally the same. Stallions win. And you could say, yes, they've basically locked up the playoffs. But we know Skip Holtz, he has a little bit of ego. For as humble as he is, he's going to want that damn number 1 spot. And especially after Houston beats Michigan this weekend, he's going to be on the sidelines looking at that score. And if they're down by 2 and he sees, the Roughnecks pulled it out, they beat Michigan, he's going to draw up that play and he's going to get the win. The only way the Stallions lose this weekend is if they say, fine, the Panthers lost. But I think they're going to capitalize on it. And either way you look at it, Panthers win, they're going to want the win that much more to stay in the hunt for that number 1 spot. Although there's going to be opportunities to even that out later in the season. Every win counts. There's only 3 games left, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's getting tight. And again, it's, again, we still have to talk about seeding and whatnot, but it's a big deal. Like, and I think it's also bragging rights. Again, this game I think matters a little bit more because it's, again, there was a chippy rivalry game last year. Like it had rivalry vibes to it. We talk a lot of times we hear about and talk about how like the interconference thing, that kind of like off field on social debate was brought into the conversation as to help stemmy like interest. This is a game that fits that narrative very well. We saw it last year to a T. And part of it was McCarron coming home to coming back to Birmingham and kind of in Alabama, that vibe. But like those two teams really got at each other, and I think we're going to see a similar thing again, where it's going to be going to be a chippy affair. Definitely bragging rights on notice right now, but it's going to be a fun one. I do think that and this is where we talk football, I'm going to have to go with Birmingham. And here's the thing. So St. Louis, I got to give credit because Michigan, when they played Michigan, they did enough in the passing game to hit big plays to just knock them out of contention is the thing. I've talked, like we've talked on chats and around the UFL. I've seen the chats on this where I've debated it. Yeah. Some big plays knocked them out. We can talk the Danny Etling what if scenario on like the pick setting up another possession and touchdowns and whatnot. But I will say that passing game for St. Louis, besides that, still not sold. And that's not just me. That's a lot of us here at PFN that we're wondering, can Max, much like when we talked about Manny Wilkins, can Max Dugan lead this offense in the air to a victory, in a consistent basis and such where, we can have some confidence there. And I think this is a game that's going to really test this because that Beham rushing game or rushing defense is no joke. And I know that people are like, well, look at Zaquandre Wright. He ran for, massive touchdown run last week. Yes. But if you look at his stats, outside one broken run, I mean, they locked him down. Like it was one outlier run that got him. This is a good front seven that Birmingham presents. And they're going to, I think, realize, and I think they're going to sell out hard to stop Jacob Sailors, and I think especially to contain the RPO game that Max Dugan has, that DC did a great job containing Manny Wilkins with. So what do you do differently if you're Anthony Becht to not get locked into the same problems you had with DC with Manny Wilkins? Because I think they're going to play that exact same game plan. They're going to, okay, Max has been running around. He bails out of the pocket to do this RPO. All right, let's see if we can beat us through the air because we think we can stop him in the ground game. Yeah, I think that's the make or break. If they find some sort of passing game and you don't have, say, Magoo or Jamar or Case get hot, which, I mean, hey, Magoo could be playing and who knows how much he looks rusty from IR. I mean, that could change it, but I got Birmingham right now. That defense, I think, is going to lock down that run game, and I don't trust Max Dugan to consistently find passing options to get a win. That's my problem. Yep.
All right, cool. So we both got Birmingham, which leads us to the final game of the weekend. Renegades traveling to DC to take on the Defenders.
This is going to be a fun one. I think this will be fun, just like the last one in Arlington. I really do.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and I mean, there's a little on the line for the Renegades here. It's kind of do or die. So, if you're ever going to put on a showcase, this is the time to do it. And they haven't forgot their last outing. And they're what they got on their mind? We gave up the biggest comeback in history of the UFL. And I think they're going to
twice, by the way.
Yeah.
Think about this. They gave up the two largest comebacks in the season and in the league's short history. They did it to DC and then did it to Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, think about this. That's insane. You gave up the most twice this year? Holy crap, people. Like, if you're an Arlington fan, it is a little saltier when you realize how much different this season looks if you just maintain for a few drives. That's it.
Yep. So I think this is their week, Zachy boy. I think this is the week they rebound. I think that, okay, when it's all on the line, we saw what this team can be, Zach. When they win, they're like, it is the problem they had last year. Isn't it funny? When they win, they look like an amazing team. When they lose, they look like an amazing team for 3 quarters. And sometimes both teams just don't show up. And that's like, DC, though, also has been having their struggles. They've gotten lucky, it feels like. And well, that's mean. I don't want to say lucky because they were able to spin those games around. But momentum's a crazy thing, right? And so if Arlington can get in their heads enough, break their plays enough to stop them from getting continuous momentum, I think they can pull this game out. And I do think they are going to pull this game out. I think they're going to survive for another week.
Wow. Okay. I mean, look, they had them dead to rights. And I said 2 largest. They gave up the second largest. Houston obviously gave up the largest. They've given up 2 of the largest come behind victories of the year, this team. I mean, it's funny. Like, the first part of the season felt like they had gotten rid of what was the Bob Stoops, gremlins of, well, we just haven't been executing in the small things. It felt like they turned a corner, and now they're back to their old selves. Now we see the same Renegades. We're back on that phase. This is the same old Arlington from 2024 and from like most of 2023, where they just can't get out of their own way. And, again, DC, very winnable game. They have a double-digit lead, just lock down, play simple offense, and kind of keep your foot on the gas, and maybe you pull it out. But, one thing I will give DC credit, and, as you know, and as others know, I've been dogging on them all year. I for most of the year, I have not bought into this team because I see flaws. But what I will put down, and I will say with confidence, is that passing attack's been getting better. And I do see that they have been slowly but surely finding a little bit more footing. The erratic passes are still a little erratic for Jordan Ta'amu. I still don't like how erratic he is in the completion percentage, but they do hit big, and they are finding a little bit more consistency in hitting big. Now, credit, some of that could be because San Antonio last week, and second half they finally realized, oh yeah, we're a much better roster than this team. Why are we behind against the Brahmas right now? But I think that's improving. They do have home field advantage, so a little bit extra there. That the defender's home Audi Field does get loud. It's a good acoustic field, so you got to deal with that. Arlington's used to playing there, but I can't pick against I can't pick against the defenders. That is for this one. I think the momentum's on their side. I think they are actually finding a little bit of stride offensively, and quite frankly, I said this 2 weeks ago. My confidence and my hype on Arlington turning a corner, I've thrown out the door. I've lost all trust. It's the same. It's the same team. I talked about how DC is a wolf in sheep's clothing with people in terms of how good they are. Sorry, Arlington showed that when they've given up 2 of the largest come from behind victories of the year this year. Classic Stoops regime mistakes, and I think it's going to bite them again. Maybe I'm wrong. This team's very capable of beating DC. I'll give you that. They have the tools. They have the assets to do so. Can they get out of their own way? That's the question that keeps looming over this damn team if you're an Arlington fan. Can they get out of their damn way to win a game? I don't think they do.
Well, we're going to find out soon.
Yeah.
And
that's the most Stephen A. you'll ever see me on this show, I think.
Yeah.
is like that. So, I don't know. Maybe,
I like it, though.
We'll wait until something else sets me off. Maybe I'll get that way, too, someday.
Well, I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say next week after the Roughnecks beat the Panthers.
Oh, you know
what?
We'll
leave it for that.
That actually will set me off if I lose to your team. I'll have to go on full defense mode for a week, and that will be fun.
All I'll say is I told you so.
If it happens, which it won't, by the way.
No, it's going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be the best game of the week.
Mr. Coach of the Year is going to show his coach. Is going to show his best of mixtape, which is the usual suspect stuff. So
hell yeah, the cover's him, SpongeBob, and whatever the star name is.
What is this? Ween?
Yeah,
playing Ocean Man.
That's right. Hell yeah, it is. But I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm also a little sad because, after this weekend, there's only a couple weeks left. It's crazy.
I know.
We're getting to the end of this
another
season
season almost in the books. They go by quick. They go by quick.
Soon we'll be talking about CJ Johnson legitimately being coach of the year, and I'm going to say CCC. It's going to be hard. I mean, even if we don't make the playoffs and we get to 500, that's 500 times better than we were last year. Name a team.
You and I do got to put our award season stuff up here in probably, honestly, the week 10 episode. I think it'll probably be either that or the lead into the playoffs. Probably will be our award show kind of set up. So stay tuned for that. I might actually wear a suit coat for that.
Ooh, exciting.
We'll dress up, make it look a little nicer.
Yeah. Well, do we have anything else? Or are we heading out? I don't even know anymore.
Do you like pizza parties?
Oh yeah, pizza.
I mean, this isn't really that big, but like I just found it funny. Like we've been seeing. So if you've watched any Fox Friday UFL, or it's Fox UFL Friday is what they call it officially. It's sponsored by Pizza Hut. They announced, just real quick because I think it's funny reading it, but they've officially announced that they are doing UFL Pizza Party Weekend giveaways. Let's see here. They're giving away 100 pizza parties in the form of $200 Pizza Hut gift cards as part of its inaugural Pizza Party Weekend delivered by Pizza Hut for the season. Fun little note I didn't realize until I read this as well. As part of the sponsorship, Offensive Player of the Week award for this, Pizza Hut provides a Wing Wednesday to the Player of the Week's team. Ooh. So any of your Offensive Player of the Week nods, they've been getting a Wing Wednesday dinner as part, at least according to the report, according to this. I haven't seen any pictures of these things, but according to this, that is what Pizza Hut's providing, is this. So, yeah.
Well, you know what they say, nobody out-pizzas the Hut. And this is just another example of that. But you know who's really pissed about this? Kirby Wilson. He's like, how could you let something like this happen?
He's got to be seething in his chair.
Poor Kirby's never going to let it down, man. I mean, at this point, there's people that probably don't even know what that even means or what that's in reference to. But there's also a good chunk of people that will never let it down.
It is amazing we've gotten that far now to where, like, people won't even fully realize what the hell Pizzagate is.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I signed up for some free pizza, though. I hope I win. $200 of free pizza. That's no joke, dude.
You know who's having the last laugh, though, is Davian Smith. Still in the league. Still playing over in Arlington.
He's hopefully going to get one of the, he's going to be looking forward to that Wing Wednesday one day, maybe, and be like, ha, 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 Kirby.
And no chicken salad for you, sir.
Yeah, just chicken wings.
Oh, my God.
From chicken salad to chicken wings with these 3 easy steps.
Spring football lore never dies.
Yeah. Good times. Good times. Stuff. But yeah, I mean, hey, here's what I want to do. If anybody wins this pizza, please post it on social media. Because I want to see somebody win the damn pizza. I don't want this to be like a information harvesting scheme. Give away $200 pizza damn gift cards. I want to see somebody win it.
Which, by the way, because this does say how you can win, so I'll put that out there if you're curious. If you're not, say you haven't read it yet and you're listening to us and you're like, oh, I can win a pizza party. Sweet. How do I do this? So they're doing, so you can either win by attending games and participating in certain promos they're doing or games they're doing. You can also win from watching at home. So I'm assuming they're trying to do like a 50-50 split. Doesn't really say what, but there's 100 pizza parties up for grabs. So just a heads up, you can win a $200 gift card for a pizza party. Have fun with that. But yeah, you can win by being a fan who is during the Pizza Hut helmet shuffle. They get to pick the helmet. So like those guys that get picked to go on the helmet. That. Yeah. So like you can win the helmet shuffle and get a chance to win a pizza party. Winner per quarter per game. Okay, UFL select one lucky winner per quarter to win a pizza party. So maybe it's more skewed towards the at-home experience, but we'll see. So keep that in mind. It's it's UFL Friday too. So I guess maybe 12 pizza parties if it starts this week. And then a custom pizza discount through the game and stadium video boards will display discount QR codes. So you get entered like that as well.
Sweet.
And then enter for a chance to win as well. You can just go online and enter if you want. from your couch. So, yeah, go have fun. See if you can win a Cheesy Bites pizza. We tried that a few weeks back at the beginning of the year.
Not bad.
Good stuff. Ranch Flight. I'm sold.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Especially if it's free. Because if it's free, it's me.
Hell yeah. Good stuff. I think that's it now. The pizza party was like an optional, but screw it. I just wanted to mention.
Yeah, why the hell not?
You know,
who doesn't love pizza?
It's pizza, man. I can't go with pizza as I go proceed after the show to make brats.
Yeah. Dude, you can't go wrong with brats either, man.
I haven't had
brats are so good.
I haven't had brats in a minute. I'm getting these beer cheese ones from Aldi. I'm gonna try them out. Could be good dinner.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks, that's gonna about do it for episode 104. Thanks for tuning in as always. Thanks for your patience for coming back after a week off. Trust me, we always come back. We're just like the Terminator, so we always come back. Don't worry. Catch us next week as well as per usual. Thursdays in morning, afternoon, you'll see the show drop. We always get it out before Friday, so stay tuned for that. And then around the UFL, coming Monday as well, the week that was in the UFL and all things ahead with, as always, a great interview and guest. And expect Jace to join us as we have been pretty much part of the panel at this point. So yeah, join us for that 6 o'clock Eastern time on live on this channel as well, UFL Podcast, which is why you should subscribe. Again, click the bell, click the subscribe button. It builds morale, not only for you, but for us too, and the rest of our PFN crew. See, I got the rhymes back in order. I'm doing good. It's been a great day. Yeah. Follow us at UFL Podcast and at Around the UFL on your favorite social media platforms to keep up with the show. And Royal Retro's code USFL Newsroom, 10% off your discount to check out some merch. And check out our merch for Spring Stock, the road trip, the road to Spring Stock for Spring Stock 4, coming later this year with a doc series that we can't wait to show you what it's going to look like and how it's going to highlight an incredible road trip that we've been so stoked to get going.
Yeah.
Any other final words for you, sir?
No, I'm good. I'm just looking forward to the Roughnecks winning this weekend. But beyond that, I think that's about it.
And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what is the reality of the situation happening in Michigan, walking away 6-2. I'm Zach Kyleman. We'll catch you for episode 105 on the other side. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.